Welcome to part 2 of this conversation. If you haven't seen the first part, go ahead and check out our last video to see the full conversation.
Leaders have layers, shaped by stories and struggles that are often unseen. In each episode, we peel back those layers, hearing from leaders whose paths may look nothing like yours, yet whose insights will feel strikingly relevant. You'll walk away with fresh eyes, ready to disrupt the status quo. This is Outsider Unscripted.
Just trying to figure out my next step in this stage of the unknown. It's been difficult for me in the sense that I tend to lack confidence in myself, feeling like I'm capable of leading myself in a new direction.
Mm.
So, you know, in the workplace environment, it's like there's different forms of being a leader. You have your people that oh, this is what you do. This is the direction you take. And it's easy for them to see that and kind of say, this is the way,
Mm-hmm.
go walk in this way and it's going to get you here. And I think I feel insecure in myself that I'm capable of figuring out what that way is and leading myself in that way. It's interesting. I see leadership as I've always seen it as I've never thought of myself as a leader in that sense and feeling confident. Because there's leaders who are strong leaders, and then there's leaders who, as I see myself, would be more like a stable leader, where you bring
Mm-hmm.
calm and you bring kind of like a stability to a situation where then
Mm-hmm.
people, you know, can be led to a certain direction in that way. I don't know if that makes sense. Um,
Yeah.
so it's kind of like changing myself from being more like, oh, the stable person, the person who brings calm, who's kind of better at sitting back and maybe allowing someone else to lead the direction, but then I can help everyone follow in that
Mm.
direction. And now I'm having to be that person that's ahead of the line, the start of the line, and being like, "No, you have to go this way now, and this is what you need to become, or this is what you need to have confidence in yourself that you can be led in this direction, and you're
Yeah.
capable of doing it. You don't need someone else to do it for you." And so that's my struggle. That's what's hard is learning how to see myself in a different way.
And you seeing your strengths are capable of that as well. And you
Yes.
mentioned that leader, you're like, "Oh, like a leader, like a strong leader." Like, how would you define leadership, I guess? Would be a good
I mean,
segue for this.
so I always thought of leadership as, kind of the person in charge and the person who directs everyone where they should go and how they should be doing something. Um, and I think in my organizing job and working as a team with other women, I learned that I do have leadership qualities. I just I think I misunderstood in my mind maybe that leadership can take different roles,
Mm-hmm.
um, and that you don't necessarily have to be this type A, go get 'em type of person to actually be
Yeah.
a good leader. I'm an encourager, and I I think I've discovered that you can lead people through encouragement. Um, you can temper situations that maybe are stressful and people are, you know, in kind of a high tension situation. And leadership also can take the form of changing that environment and making it more
Yeah.
calm and stable so that you can move forward.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've learned that about leadership and seeing that it can take different forms. It's not, you know, how I viewed it in the beginning. But I think where I'm getting stuck is that I'm thinking I need to be that type A go get 'em
Yeah.
personality to get where I need to go next. And maybe
Mm-hmm.
that's not true, you know? Maybe I need to focus on more what I know as myself as a leader and how can I, use those strengths to get me where I need to go next.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm still just trying to figure it all out.
Yeah, which is also
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
You're in it,
Yeah.
and it's sometimes like what's up, what as you know, like what's up, what's down, how especially if you're somebody who works with people or like knows what you should be doing. I
Mhm.
think it can feel even more frustrating. You're like, okay, great, it's January now, it's April, like that putting
Yeah.
that pressure on yourself. Um, but I love hearing you say what your strengths are because as somebody outside of your own mind, I'm like, wow, that sounds like so many great skills where I'm like, I don't know, my mind goes off for all the like I'm like, so many people would want you in these different areas. Like, how could you doubt yourself? Like, that's such like great strengths. But I know that it's hard to see ourselves correctly all the time, especially if we're like, oh, well, a leader is this. And I think a lot of us do that where, oh, that's not for me to do, or I don't want to public speak because I don't do that. Or we just have all these boxes we can
Right.
like put ourselves in. And so I think that again is so relatable to what we each can go through in our own situations. And, but yeah, hearing you share about like the encourager and the calm and the stability and how you were doing that with homes through the actual physical movement of things, like taking chaos and creating order, and that you do that through like the marriage counseling, which to take two people's perspectives and help bring calm and
Mhm.
order is just such a great skill and shows a strength that you're not afraid of things.
Mhm.
I mean, or maybe I shouldn't say you're not afraid of things. I should say you have courage to enter into the chaos, which is such a strength for any person who leads. And so, I mean, I know it's like a house or a relationship, but a lot of people avoid that. And that's how we end up with messy houses and messy relationships. So, um, yeah. So that was my tangent from what I was hearing from you.
No, and
Um,
I liked what
yeah.
you just said about entering the chaos. And it's interesting that you worded it that way because I've never really like thought about that in the sense of, you know, in the form of mentoring couples. Um that yeah, we are entering their chaos, you
Hmm.
know. And I'm not afraid to do that. And it's interesting that I'm not afraid to do that in someone else's life. But I think what I'm coming to see is I am afraid to do that in my own life. And I think
Mm.
that's an uncomfortable place to sit, with yourself is that, hey, I'm kind of chaotic inside, and we all want to
Yeah.
kind of be put together and you want to feel like you have life, figured out. And I think, it took me so long to get to that place. Being a stay-at-home mom, which I chose, and I feel blessed that I was able to do that. But also, as my kids grew and became adults, it was like kind of being put in this place of like, well, who am I now? What's my identity?
Mm.
What's my purpose? And then, kind of struggling through that and then finding, this job, this career that I loved so much and
Yeah.
like ding, oh, my purpose. Like
Yeah. Like you
I
coming
feel
alive.
so
Yeah.
yeah, coming alive and like, oh, I have a career now. I'm doing something for myself that I enjoy and that brings, fulfillment to me. And
Hmm.
it's like and now being that kind of I feel like I'm moving backwards again now, and now I'm kind of back to that place of well, who am I? Who am I? What's my purpose now? And
Yeah.
and that's an uncomfortable place to sit with yourself because we all have purpose, you know. We all have skills, we all have qualities that go outside of just what we do as a profession. Um and I think having to sit in that uncomfortableness with myself of figuring out what that is, what that looks like. Um, yeah, maybe I've been a little disappointed in myself. Like, you
Mm.
should be better at this, you know? You help other
Yeah.
people do this. You should be better at this yourself. And so
Yeah.
that's been something I think I'm realizing
Yeah.
and you kind of see maybe the pride in it. Like,
Mm.
I don't see myself as a prideful person, but there is some pride there, that maybe needs to be
Yeah.
broken down. That it's okay. It's okay to be messed up. It's okay to be, to feel like I don't know what I'm doing. Um, it's okay to have chaos in your life. That's a part of life, for all of us.
Mhm.
Um, but I think it's like using using your strengths um in trying to bring yourself out of that.
Mhm.
And so that's again the struggle.
Yeah. Yeah.
but realizing it, it's like just do the next thing. That's kind of what I've been
Mhm.
telling myself now. It's like just do the next thing. Like don't think about the 10 steps ahead, you know. You got to think about the next step because you can't
Mhm.
jump 10 steps ahead. It's not possible. So,
Yeah.
but you can
Even if
jump.
you'd like to skip those 9
Right?
steps in
It's
between.
like, I wanna skip the 9 steps, I just wanna get to
Yeah.
10, you know?
Yeah.
It's like, well, no, you gotta take the one that's right in front of you. And so, and I've been fighting that. I think I've been fighting that, and it's like, I just wanna stay where I am, you know? And
Yeah.
that's so hard. It's
Yeah.
yeah.
You said a few things like being like kind of the the pride. I feel like I've had that in my life where I was like,
Mhm,
"Ah," and I was like, "Oh, it is kind of a pride." Well, wait, I think everyone else can be human and have issues or
mhm,
struggles but I'm not letting myself off the hook. I'm like, "No, but you shouldn't." And
mhm.
so I'm hearing kind of like the wrestle with that of like I should be there, but it sounds like you need like you need a you to come and encourage you.
Yes.
So
It's exactly what I need. "Sadie,
yeah.
tell me, what should I do?"
You need a you to come and encourage you of
Yes,
yeah,
yes.
yeah. And
Yeah,
so even seeing that like maybe you're not so nice to yourself like you are to everyone else in the
yeah.
process. During this time, the things it's bringing up some maybe beliefs or perspectives or things that could kind of get what's the word they use for, like, pruning some
Mhm,
of the
pruning.
edges kind of thing, which again, for all of us is uncomfortable. I think sometimes we can be like, "Oh, growth is so good, I'm gonna grow," but,
Yeah.
like, the actual process of growing is not
Painful.
fun. Or if you think
Yeah.
of, like, the garden, like, you have to go pull out the weeds, dig up the ground, dig up the roots of all the things, add things to the soil to make it, like, actually something good. Like, that whole process is, like, grueling, and so if we think of that inside of ourselves, it's like, that's not fun. Thank you for sharing where you're at in the process
Mhm.
of processing it all, because as I can definitely relate, and I find encouragement in that in my own life where I'm like, "Oh, wrestling with similar things." And
You know, having grace for yourself too is
mhm,
so important, and, like I said, it's so easy to tell somebody else, "Don't be so hard on yourself," you know? Have grace for yourself. Give yourself time. Um, allow yourself to be in the process of something. Don't rush the process, you know? there's power in the process. Like you
Yeah.
said, pruning, that's a process. Um,
Yeah.
and sometimes those things, it's like we want to rush through them, and because it is painful, but there's purpose in it. And I think, that's where I'm wanting to go is is finding, the purpose in this, because there
Yeah.
is, we all have opportunities to grow and become a better version of ourselves. And, like we talked about earlier about the pride thing, and it's being able to sit with yourself and say, I'm not okay. Um, I maybe have some areas that I thought I was okay and I'm not. And
Yeah.
but that's okay. But you don't want to
Mhm.
stay there either, and
Yeah.
you got to move forward. And so, yeah, just kind of trying to, what I tell other people, implement in my own life.
I think what you just said was really, really good, that it's, okay to be in that and, like, trying to remind yourself of what you share with others. But you named that it's not a traumatic experience, I just lost my
Mhm,
dream job, and but how, you were a stay-at-home mom, and then you kind of, like, found this job that what helped you come alive, like, after being a stay-at-home mom and, like, finding your identity. So it's not that you're just losing a job, like, there's a lot
mhm,
of loss in that, and I think for myself, sometimes it's hard to acknowledge the losses because, it's
mhm,
fine, I know, I should move on, and I think that there's the 7 stages of grief for a like, we have to go
mhm,
through those, and that's hard, and so I just wanna, maybe reflect back to you that that's a really hard loss for you to go through, and I think you're doing a great job in the process, and, like, you mentioned grace, and so I just wanna yeah, I hope you have grace with yourself because
mhm,
you're doing a great job, and you're processing, and also that's a lot of loss, and that's okay to be grieved by it, not comparing to the things other people have had, um, but that is a hard thing, and that was a
right,
beautiful thing, and like you said, not to only stay in that, but also to allow ourselves to sit in that, which is the most uncomfortable thing for me.
right,
I'm not very good at it, but I've had to learn it in my own way, and I think a lot of us just don't even know how to acknowledge what you've acknowledged, and I think it's a gift that you shared that with us, and to also know that, like, more good things are to come, and
mhm.
you may not be able to envision it, but I see only a glimpse of the strengths that you've shared where I'm like, "Oh, man, I am not worried about where you're going." Like, I feel like you're gonna find something that's really good and fitting for caring for your body as well with what you have,
Yes,
and even potentially, my thoughts is, like, being able to reach more people that you may not have been able to when you were just in this one business going home to home, like, maybe there's an opportunity to I mean, you're here sharing with us,
right,
to be able to share with more people in a way that you didn't think about,
yeah.
because you maybe didn't believe in yourself or didn't believe that you could do that, but, I can everything you're sharing with me, I'm like, "Oh, this is so powerful, this is impactful, you should keep sharing, you should come back all the time." So, yeah.
Well, thank you. That's very sweet. I appreciate your words and your encouragement too. So, thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, thank you for sharing, some of that. Oh, one question I had one question, and then I wanted to ask you some if you wanted to share some of your passion of,
Okay,
like, a tip for us for organization in the house, that kind
sure.
of thing. But, like, what is I guess it's like, what would you have to believe about yourself in order to, um, I don't know, take the next step of the testing or something like that? Like, in order to believe that you could do that maybe idea that's in your mind, what would you have to
Yeah,
believe about yourself?
that's a really good question, Sadie. Um, I think that, so where my mind has been heading and thinking what I'm going to do next is kind of leaning more towards like life coaching.
Mhm.
Um, since I've had experience in, mentoring a lot of people. I think because I've never done that as like a career in the sense of being paid, somebody's paying me money to do that. I think,
Yeah.
honestly, that's where it gets sticky for me. It's like,
Mhm.
well, would people really want to pay me to tell me their problems or talk to me about something and then have me help them work through something, you know? Um, I've done it a lot, but not in, you know, a paid setting, I guess.
Mhm.
And so for some reason, that's kind of like my hang up right now is like, how do I take something I've done for so long, um, just kind of like as a layperson, you know,
Yeah.
um, and turn it into like a paid career, so to
Mhm.
speak. Yeah. So I guess, maybe lacking the confidence of thinking, you know, I will pay you to listen to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which I love
That
to
makes
do,
sense.
I'm a relator, I'm a people person. I love to help people. Like you said, you know, going into someone's chaos and helping them see it from a different perspective.
Yeah.
That sounds so appealing to me. It is. Um,
Yeah.
but I think it's just the confidence that,
Mhm.
you know, I would do that
Yeah.
outside of just as a friend.
Mhm. So, would you like to share, since this is some of your passion, is I know life coaching as well, which you've shared some great insights of some insight for like a tip for home organization or
Home organization.
organizing your life.
Yes, for sure. I'm going to say the biggest thing in keeping your home organized would be don't put it down, put it away. And so if you think about, in just your daily tasks, it's like we can mindlessly set our keys somewhere. We mindlessly put our purse somewhere. We leave our shoes at the door. The kids leave their toys out. And it's like, when you think of the time, it's just one thing. But throughout a whole day, if you're just putting multiple one things,
Yeah.
just not in their place, then you have a house that's become cluttered. So,
Mhm.
first of all, having the mindset, if something's in your hand, it's like, don't put it down, put it away where it belongs. And then that helps eliminate clutter. Um, Another thing that is really nice for those people that have two-story houses, we don't have a lot of those here in Phoenix, but um, is to have like a stair basket. And so when you have stuff downstairs that belongs upstairs, you put it in the stair basket. And then
Mhm.
by the end of the day, you take your basket up and you put everything away. And whatever's upstairs that does not belong up there, you put in your basket and you take it downstairs. And then the next morning, you put it all away. Um, Trying to think of other tips.
That's great. Those are good ones. Anything for people with
Yeah,
kids? I know there's lots of
people with kids. Oh, I know, and
yes.
that's hard because it's like we you have the
You're like, "I
intention
could"
of, kids put your toys away and, they don't put their toys away.
Yeah.
Um, I think it's helpful to have more like depending on the space in your home too, but like baskets work great for kids. So having like cubbies even with like baskets, um, where they can easily put their toys in the basket. It can be put away. It doesn't have to be neat in the basket, but the basket looks neat from the outside.
Yeah.
Or having multiple stations for your kids. So, some people envision, oh, I want a playroom and I want all their stuff to be in this playroom and I don't want it anywhere else in the house. Well, that's a great thought, but it's really not practical with kids because kids typically they want to be where you are.
Yeah.
So they want to be playing where you are. They don't want to play in their playroom in another room away from where you are. So maybe having like stations. So having a
Mhm.
basket, it sounds kind of funny, but in your kitchen area, because I don't know, I spend a lot of time in my kitchen. So having a little basket there where they're allowed certain toys in that basket for this room. Having another basket, maybe it's a study. If you work from home and your kids are playing close by, they're allowed to have certain toys in that basket. And those are for that
Mhm.
room only. And then it's kind of fun for them too, because then those toys are reserved for those special areas and they're not being played with just randomly.
Mhm.
Um, that's
Yeah.
just a tip because, uh, you know, kids can have so many things. And I think too, like the minimalistic, I don't really like the word minimalistic because it turns people off, but kind of less is more.
Mhm.
And obviously, the more things you have, the more you have to take care of it. The more you have to put away, the more space you have to have for it. So if you can even go through your house and just look at things and be like, do I really use that? Um,
Mhm.
how often do I use it? Does it make me happy? You know?
Mhm.
Um, is it just something that's taking up space in my life and getting rid of it, giving it away or having, even having like a basket of things maybe you're not sure you want to let go of, but putting it in there, putting it in your garage for a month or two. And if you haven't thought about it or seen it,
Yeah.
then you know what, I'm probably safe. I can give that away. So,
Yeah. That's really good. Thank you for those tips.
yeah,
That's
I
awesome.
don't, so
Yeah, that's great. Well, is there anything else you wanted to share before we wrap up that I didn't ask you?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Just thank you for having me.
Yeah,
Um,
thank you for sharing with us.
yeah.
Thanks for joining us today. Follow along on our YouTube where we release our episodes early. We hope today's conversation inspired you, and we'd love to hear what insights you took away. So please comment below, and we look forward to seeing you next time.